Today on Us Weekly's reality recap, Below Deck Chief Sue Fraser Olander joins us. Kyle Richards and Reza Farahàn go head-to-head. The Chrisleys report to jail, and the Sister Wives drama continues. We've got that plus so much more on today's reality recap. Hey guys, Christina Garibaldi here with Us Weekly executive producer Mandy DeCamp, and welcome to Reality Recap. We are so excited because this week we are joined by Below Deck Chief Sue Fraser Olander. We are loving the season so far. It is heating up, and thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, so we have a lot to get into about the show this season. But before we do, we have to always check in to see what everybody had to say about last week's show. And Leslie says, Paige sees through any BS. And if Craig doesn't calm his drinking down, she'll probably get over it. Talking about Paige and Craig, Paige from Summer House and Craig from Southern Charm. Not sure if you've been catching up on your Southern Charm and Summer House, but, you know, they are one hot Bravo couple.
Yeah. We love a Bravo romance around here, especially when the two shows like cross paths. It doesn't get better than that.
Good stuff, isn't it? Yeah. Worlds collide.
Rhonda said, I'm glad on Southern Charm that Kat is gone. She was a mean girl, spoiled, and always had to have her way. Didn't know why she even got to stay this long. Harsh words for Miss Catherine Dennis there.
Yeah, very harsh words, very harsh words. Well, we'll have to see what Southern Charm looks like without Catherine going forward. But let's get into this week's reality news. And of course, we have to hear from Fraser all about this season. So we've been able to see it all play out with Camille and Alyssa, but do you wish that you had done something sooner?
Do you know, a lot of people are asking me this exact question, and it was only until this charter that I was made her full-time boss, if you will, because she was Deck's stew. So people were like, why did you not do something earlier? I had no power, executive decision-making on behalf of Camille's employment until now. So only now I'm able to do that. Listen, she wasn't great from the get-go. I do love her as a person, but she wasn't the right fit for our boat, and something needed to happen. I'm glad it finally did.
Yeah. I mean, I was yelling at the screen at you, like, fire this girl.
I was like, I can't. Why is everyone shouting at me? I was like, I literally don't have that power. We forget she was under us and I for so long. Right. And as much, she didn't do much outside. She didn't do much on the inside either. But people just thought that I was very much more over her than anyone else.
Do you think the idea of a Deck stew is not a good idea?
It's absolutely a good idea on a very small vessel. You don't see Deck stews on yachts that size. You just don't. It's not something that has any worth to anyone. You have someone who, you know, enjoys to work outside, and when they're free, you can take them out and they can help. But it's not a done thing, and why it was this season, I will never know.
But it made for good TV.
It did. I did.
I know Camille posted her thoughts on Instagram story this week, justifying why she was drinking while cleaning the boat. What was your reaction to her Instagram stories?
I don't think there's much conversation there. I think the facts are the facts. She was drinking a pint-sized glass of guest champagne at 2:00 in the afternoon whilst we were working away. There is no other side to the story there. I'm sorry to say it.
Was it Vouv?
It was. It most certainly wasn't Veuve Cru or whatever she tried to call it.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, did she really not know that was the good champagne? Come on.
Yeah, no, it's definitely love. And, you know, I did say that we could have a drink after we finished work. 100% I did. I like to have as much fun as everyone else, but we hadn't done. And I saw her opening this bottle in her own cabin, and I just thought to myself, this is just what I mean by her not understanding teamwork.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think Alyssa was a bully to her? We see Camille call Alyssa a bully in maybe it was 2 episodes ago or this past episode, I can't remember. But do you think that was justified? Do you think Alyssa had a little bit of a bully in her?
I don't think the term bullying is correct. They didn't like each other. They were as awful to each other as one another. There is no side to pick there. And this is what I didn't like about the whole situation. We had a really, really big job to do. I certainly did. And this catfighting wasn't a priority of mine. My priority was to get the job done. Alyssa did a very good job and Camille didn't. So that's where I sort of stood on the whole thing. But I don't think she was a bully. Camille gave it out big time. You know, in front of me, I didn't see any of it. She really tiptoed around me and was angelic when I was around, which is a shame because I'm watching it back now and I'm thinking, how on earth is this stuff happening? Very close to me. But it was what it was, and she played her game for as long as she could. But sadly, that's up now.
Yeah. I mean, I think I know where you probably stand on this, but I guess you do agree that it was right for Captain Sandy to fire Camille then?
Yes, she had really reached all of our limits.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Would you work with Camille or Alyssa again?
I would definitely work with Alyssa. She's a phenomenal stewardess. No one's perfect, but she did the job when she needed to do the job. And Camille, I think, is a wonderful girl, but I don't think we're compatible working together.
I don't know if anyone is, to be honest with you. I think if anyone, you were the most tolerant of her than any other past chief stew would have been.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe. Again, I saw a lot of her and sort of a lot of me in her, and no one really gave me chances in life. So I counted on those second and third chances, but I was smart enough to take them and to work well with them and to learn from them. And I just don't think Camille did this season.
Just shifting gears, we got to talk about Ross a little bit. He is the, boatman's captain of this boat. You had a pretty real conversation with him about mid-season, about his past romances, how much sex he's had, how many partners he's had. Do you still stand by the fact that you think he might have a problem there?
There's no shadow of a doubt there. 100%. Yeah. Which is why I suggested to him that he works on himself as opposed to working on the stews as a sort of prime idea to fix his issues. But, he's a fantastic bosun and leader. And I think I respect him for that. Anything outside of that, really, I shouldn't have a say on.
Do you still think he's a himbo?
Yeah, I do. I think that was a great call. I think it was Camille who said that for sure. Yeah.
Do you ever have boatmances? I know we haven't seen you have one obviously this season, but have you in the past? And what's kind of your stance on boatmances in general?
I think boatmances are fine so long as they don't involve other people. I think it's perfect. I've seen beautiful boatmances in the past few years, and I've seen how they really work really well. You can maintain a crew member, part of a team, not be secluded to just your other half. And that was new to me. I never thought they did work, but they can be messy. I think, again, especially on such a short season, with the amount of work that's sort of piled onto us, it's probably not where your priorities should be lying. But I've only had one or two before, and they were fleeting.
Yeah. We think that this is a first in Below Deck history, but you worked with both, obviously, Captain Sandy and Captain Lee. I mean, what a treat. I mean, what did you learn from both of them, and how is this experience different for you? And can you say which one was better?
I think they have overall very different management styles, not least because I knew Captain Lee and I knew how he worked. I knew how he liked things to be run. He also gave me he trusted me, and he gave me the confidence to be creative and enjoy sort of my take on chief stewing. It took some time to get used to Sandy's management on the boat, but equally she taught me a lot about myself. And I think at the end of this season, I understand what I mean by that. She really opened my eyes to things, previously I wouldn't have dealt with so well without her sort of making sure I did.
Mm-hmm.
You work really well with Chef Rachel, which, we've seen some people in the past not work that great with her. You guys have a really good relationship. How has she kind of measured up to other chefs that you have worked with? Did you like working with her?
I did. I absolutely loved working with her. She was a sense of security for me coming back this season with everything that was on my plate. She was there to sort of pat my back, and she was a huge part of me making it through this season successfully. I think that all chefs are, in their own right, can be quite hot-headed and tricky. I think I think the best skill I've learned in yachting today is how to deal with a chef and how to say things when you should say them, and or hold off and wait for the right time on things. Much like the fact that our guest didn't like the food last trip, I didn't run to her and tell her that in the middle of a meal. It wouldn't make sense. She'd get fiery. It wouldn't work. But it's having the right time and knowing what's good for your chef and when.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I also feel like she handled stress better this season than she had in some past seasons. Like she's kind of learned some mechanisms to get through those tough moments and tough charter guests.
100%. I think so too. I'm totally in awe of her though. I think if you can provide this sort of excellence for charter guests as well as your crew for 6 weeks, 24/7, it's pretty mesmerizing. And she really should have had a sous chef, but she did it on her own. So she's a very talented chef.
Definitely.
Yeah. I always wonder why they don't let the below deck chefs have a sous chef.
I know. On every boat of that size, you would usually definitely have one. That's why we always tend to find someone within the crew who has interest or likes to be in the galley, and then they can sort of help out.
Yeah.
Definitely. Now, did you know anyone who had been on the show before and had given you any advice, or did you ever reach out to anybody? And what was that good advice that they gave you?
Yeah, I am very fortunate to now be good friends with Kate Chastain, who was an idol of mine, when I first started watching the shows, and Hannah, and they both gave me fantastic advice. I spoke to so many people. Daisy now is a good friend, so she's been giving me some tips of the trade. But it's all well and dandy getting all this fantastic information, but when you're thrown onto that boat and you've got 24 hours to make what cannot even be considered a super yacht into a super yacht standards for guests, I mean, it all just goes out the window. You just have to get with it. But no, everyone's been very supportive, and I'm so grateful to have these wonderful people in my life.
Do you think Kate or Hannah would ever come back to yachting? I know they're, Hannah's a mom and Kate's a soon-to-be mom. Could you see that in their future?
I don't know if I could. I could see Kate coming back, or even Hannah as a guest. I think that's as far as they're going to, get down and dirty with the stewing again.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible as a mom in that job.
We
know that you really hate cruise ships. Why is that?
You know what? I don't know. I think I don't know why that was used, but it was, and I have to you have to be actually responsible for saying it. But I've never actually been on one. Do you know what it is? I don't like people confusing what I do and the level of which I do it at, and the training and experience I have to do what I do, to be compared with someone hopping on a cruise. Because that's not the same. It's not even similar. I mean, that's what it is. That's why it's a pet peeve. But no, I have no problem against it. I mean, it'd be great to go on one day. Maybe I should, so I can sort of reevaluate on that.
And finally, would you ever do the show again?
I think I would. Yeah, I really enjoy it. I think this season was really important for me to get comfortable with my chief position and to know more about myself and how I should work as a manager. I think I've learned a lot. So I think, if the opportunity ever came up again, then I would definitely consider it.
Definitely. Well,
we'd love to see you back. I really enjoyed you this season.
Definitely love this season. And make sure everybody watches Below Deck Monday nights at 8 p.m. on Bravo. We're going to get into some news of the week, but everybody stay tuned because you're going to teach us the art of pillow fluffing a little bit later on. We cannot wait. We are here for it. We are ready to go. But before we get to all that, let's get into some news of the week, because there is a Housewives Shahs of Sunset feud that we did not see coming, because this started when Kyle Richards clapped back after Reza from Shahs of Sunset called her overrated during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen. On the show, Andy asked Reza a fan question, was saying, Nina L wants to know who you think is the most overrated housewife. Well, he admitted that his answer was going to get him in a lot of trouble, which I guess it did. And he said, I apologize in advance, Kyle Richards. Sorry, Kyle. The Trader Star noted that his answer was partially because he wants Lisa Vanderpump, who left Housewives during season 9, to return. He added, I want to know what's going on in her life. You got me addicted. While the host pointed out that he could see LVP on Vanderpump, which returns for season 10 in February, he implied that it wasn't the same. I want to see her kitchen, he explained. I do as well. Well, Kyle, who is the last remaining OG on Beverly Hills, wasted no time reacting to the clip. She commented on a fan account, CC Loves You's post, saying, wasn't his show canceled and wasn't he the first one voted off the Traitors? I can't even be offended. Well, Derick applauded her clapback, but he kept the feud going by commenting, "My show is canceled and I was eliminated first, but my sister and all my castmates still like me." Ooh, burn.
Yeah, harsh words coming from Reza. You watch any of the Housewives, Fraser?
Back in the day I did, and Lisa Vanderpump was a queen to me. But I also feel that I really liked Kyle too, so I don't know where I stand on this. But I mean, I thought we had things rough with the stews on board. This is a whole new level. So I'm going to stay out of this one. But yeah, of course, I want to see LVP. I do.
I would love to see LVP
again.
back.
Love it.
Christina, do you have a most overrated housewife? This is
putting me on the spot, Mandy.
Careful what you say.
I know. I don't want to get in
You'll
trouble
never be on again.
sir.
I know.
Don't need that.
Okay, moving on.
I love them all.
But tell us in the comments, everyone, who you think is the most overrated housewife, and we'll read them next week.
Yes, I'm going to marinate on this one a little bit.
All right, moving on to the Chrisleys. Todd Chrisley and Julie Chrisley began their respective prison sentences this week on Tuesday. And he had his faith at the forefront of his mind before going in. He commented, he said this week in a social post, he said, "He's always on time, #fight the good fight," alongside a clip of Southern gospel singer Karen Peck performing 4 days late at a congregation. He is set to serve 12 years at the minimum security federal prison camp in Pensacola, while Julie will spend her 7-year sentence at FMC in Kentucky. I feel really bad that they're serving in different places. Okay, I don't feel bad because they did the crime, but I, for some reason in my head, thought they were going to be sharing a jail cell, which obviously doesn't make sense. But I don't know why I thought that.
I do feel bad that the kids will have to go to different states to visit their parents. I don't feel bad for the Chrisleys, though.
Sorry, I don't feel bad for them.
They continue to maintain their innocence when all the evidence just shows that you're guilty. It's like if you just pled guilty, you wouldn't have been spending this amount of time in jail, and you're still confused about it. I don't get it.
That is so true.
You do the crime, you got to do the time, right?
Absolutely. Yep.
All right. Well, let's move on to Sister Wives. Paedon Brown claimed that his father, Kody Brown, wanted TLC to enforce a rule preventing his children from speaking negatively about him outside the show. This is interesting. So the 24-year-old opened up about his experience in the plural family during an interview with YouTuber John Yates on January 11th, recalling an out-of-the-blue phone call from Kody after months of not talking. He recalled, "It's like an hour-long conversation. It goes really, really well. And I'm like, okay, I might be getting my father back. This is wonderful." When he informed his mother, Christine Brown, of the phone call, she allegedly told her son that the conversation wasn't so spontaneous. He added, apparently he was trying to convince the high-ups at TLC and was trying to discuss with them and trying to put it in our contracts that we are not allowed to say anything negative about him on our platforms. And he's fighting with my mom about it because my mom is saying you can't control our children that way. He's trying to say your children can't say anything bad about me. So Kody didn't want his kids, like we said, to say anything bad because it hurts his image. And he allegedly called his other children after losing a battle with Christine. He just happens to call us and realized he didn't call me because he wanted to talk to me. He called me because he doesn't want me talking negatively. And this was after a series of splits that he has had with his wives. But I don't know, you can't really control what your kids are saying.
No. I mean, this is all alleged. We don't know if he actually did this, but I would not put it past Kody, just judging from my many seasons watching this show.
No.
He's an interesting character. And I can't wait to see where Sister Wives goes from here. Like, what do you do when you only have one? Is Robin still a sister wife if you're the only one left? I don't know.
Fraser, are you a fan of Sister Wives?
No, there's a hell of a lot of drama this week. I tell you that much. I mean, just taking this all in. I don't. I want to. I really endeavour to be a bit more of a Bravo fan, but until I'm living in the States, I don't know if I can get access to it. But no, I love it all. I definitely love these little bits and bobs without getting too involved.
Yeah, Sister Wives, you got to go way back. This show has been on way too long. You might just need to move on from this.
Yeah, that will be a commitment. All right. Well, before we get into our social spotlight of the week, like we said, Fraser is going to teach us how to do the art of pillow fluffing the correct way. So we all have our pillows handy.
Yeah,
so
we do.
Teach us, show us the way.
You see the pillow, right? Okay. So a really important part to this. I mean, everyone's got their own their own ways in which they like things being done. However, I like pillows to be super, super fat and chunky. There's nothing worse than a slim, weak, backless pillow to be on your bed. So what I do is I will grab the bottom of the pillow. So if I'm grabbing here, this is going to be the top when it's placed on the bed. Okay. Grab the bottom by the two tips here, right? And then you want to get as much weight as you possibly can into the top of the pillow. So you need to shake as much as you can. So you get basically as much of it out of here as possible and into the top. Okay. And then you'll place delicately the pillow sort of butt first onto the bed. So you've got a very nice, hefty, here we go, thick top. And then I'll always just pop the sides in to make it fatter. Obviously, without having a bed to do this on, it's very difficult.
Yeah, right.
You need to shake it, get the weight in, carefully place it down. So you've got a really nice, stern and thick, fueled pillow.
I love it. Mine takes up the whole screen. So
yeah. I think I did not know how to do that. And I feel like I just learned something.
Yeah, you just want it to have as much volume as possible. And I think that's what makes the difference between a nice inviting bed or one to avoid.
I love it.
I love it. Thank you so much. All right, well, let's move on to our social spotlight. Who caught our attention on social media? Mine went to Brooks Marks from Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Meredith Marks' son. He took to TikTok to rate the tweets that Jen Shah liked about him back in the day. The commentary is fantastic, so take a quick look.
Let's take a trip down memory lane and rate all of the horrible tweets that someone liked about me a couple of years ago. Starting off strong, we have Meredith's grown-ass son was so offended for nothing. Glad she agreed. I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. Actually, I'll give it a 6 because I feel bad that the person hates it here. I love this one. His scenes tonight made me hate him and his elitist attitude. You know what they say, the higher the altitude, the more elite the attitude. It has more like thought into it. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Brooks is such a dramatic brat. He literally over-exaggerated that entire scene with Jen to his mom. And just because the pic is funny, I'll give it a 9 out of 10. I'd rate this one like a 6.5 out of 10 because it traumatized me. This one's killing me. This is honestly a 10 out of 10. Jen Shah would eat Brooks alive. Like she would. Good one.
Still a little mad about the Jen Shah tweets. Not that I blame him.
That's great.
Mandy, how about you?
Mine went to Katie and Tom Schwartz. We can't show the video because it's not ours, but a fan captured the pair getting lunch together for her birthday this week, which I thought was really cute. And they were laughing. They seemed to be having a good time. So it was nice to see that they have remained friends even after this tumultuous season that's coming up of Vanderpump Rules.
Yes, very interesting considering, the trailer dropped last week. We were talking about it and it seems like it's going to be a lot of drama between the two of them, which, bad for them, good for us.
Yes.
All right. Well, that is it for this week's episode of Reality Recap. Fraser, thank you so much for joining us. It was such a pleasure, so much fun. And like I said, Below Deck airs Monday nights at 8 p.m. on Bravo. Make sure you guys check it out. It is a great season. And we really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you so much. All the best, ladies.
Thank you.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.